Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What? There are chairs available if you all want to sit down and not stand up, but okay, great. I would like to call to order the Dania Beach City Commission meeting. It is Tuesday, February 13th at 7 o'clock p.m. Call the roll, please.
Mayor James.
Here.
Vice Mayor Harris.
Here.
Commissioner Brandemart.
Here.
Commissioner Grace.
Here.
Commissioner Salvino.
Here.
City Manager Baldwin.
Here.
City Attorney Ansbro.
Here.
Thank you.
Can you please bow your heads for a moment of silence? Thank you, and can you please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance? All right, we'll start with presentations and special event approvals. The first one is the annual event from the field at the Irish Pub Eatery. This is their St. Patrick's celebration that'll be held on March 17th. Are there any issues?
Sorry, no issues, Mayor.
Move the item.
Second.
All in favor?
We do have adequate parking, BSO, and whatever else we need
I don't
out
see a
there.
best. Oh,
Okay.
it's in a different seat. Couldn't find you back there. The second one is a special event request from the Marine Industries Association for their annual cleanup, their waterway cleanup. Do we have
No issues, Mayor.
Move it.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Great.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
before we go on to the citizens' comments, there is an item that's not on the agenda, but I promised them that I would definitely come before the commission tonight and ask for a waiver of Frost Park for the Lions Club 69th anniversary. We have it every year annually there. We're going to have maybe 400 people, and I think that we probably didn't do our homework on this one. We just took in consideration that we've always been partners, and I'm asking them to waive the fee for Frost Park for Saturday, which starts at 9 a.m.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any issues? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is this Mark Felicity? Who's speaking for Mark? You're speaking for Mark? Oh, it's fine? Okay, thank you. Citizens' comments. You have 3 minutes. If you would please state your name and address for the record, and you will have 3 minutes again. Charlotte Newby. I'm sorry.
I'm Charlotte Newberry. I live at 1314 Southeast Fifth Court in Dania Beach, Florida.
Okay.
I've been a resident there since 1991. Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners, I am here to talk about my ongoing problems with sleep-in. When my husband and I selected our lot at Sheridan Ocean Club, the property behind our lot was a nice piece of wooded land. The builder showed the resident Ocean Club board members and the resident an artist's rendering of the proposed hotel. Trees to be planted on the hotel property were portrayed to us as being full and lush to the extent that they would block the hotel from our view. You have some pictures up there. I took a picture of my out my living room window and out my sliding glass door. Whatever species of tree that was planted doesn't even remotely resemble the picture we were shown. The leaves are small and the foliage created is so sparse that it doesn't even begin to block the hotel from our view. The variety we were shown was not specified, but the trees are in the north side of the hotel property need to be replaced with trees which will afford residents adjoining the north side of the hotel property an acceptable visual barrier to their building. There's a bunch of pictures too from 1324 and 1326. My neighbor, 3 houses east of me, has an issue with trees on the hotel property as well. She only has 8 feet of space between her house and the block wall at the hotel property. The trees planted by the hotel were overhanging the property and as such constitute a hazard during storms. In the past, my neighbor has had to pay to have limbs of these trees protruding north of the hotel property line cut, and also to have debris from the trees removed from her yard after storms. At one time, the sleep-in had someone come in and trim the trees, but the last 2 houses were not trimmed. She tried numerous times to request the trees be trimmed, but it never happened. For these reasons, my neighbor prefer that the hotel owners remove the existing trees from along the block wall at the north edge of their property, that no trees be planted at the hotel behind her house at all. The sleep-in has been a problem for me before it opened. While the hotel was being built, I worked full-time, and I got a reprieve from the site noises for part of the day. However, when the ground at the hotel site was being compacted, my whole house would shake. I have cracks across my tile floor in my living room. The compaction process also created gaps around the frames of my windows and sliding doors, which required caulking. I did not complain. Now I realize that this was a mistake. My beautiful home has become a source of anxiety. The sleep-in has allowed large trucks to park improperly, running diesel engines for extended times, causing fumes to enter my home. At a chance meeting this past Friday, the sleep-in manager
Charlotte?
had the audacity to say it takes a while to get the trucks to park correctly.
Charlotte. Hi. You only have 3 minutes. I think your time is up. However, I get the gist of what you're saying.
Okay.
But what I want to direct you is to Mark over here. He's in charge of our community development.
Great.
And he will be. Mark, could you raise your hand? Look this way. And he'll be able to address your concerns better than we can up here. Okay.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, then come back and let us know.
Okay, can I just say one last thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Finally, since our Vice Mayor, Bill Harris, was involved, something is being done. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill, for your efforts. Are so appreciated. You were able to accomplish more in a month than I could in all the years I've been there, and I've been there since 1991.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Karina Pinzon. Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Karina Pinzon. My address is 1318 Southeast Fifth Court.
Thank you.
Live directly east of Charlotte,
Okay.
and I've lived there 17 years. And in 17 years, I have seen sex. I have seen domestic violence. I have seen numerous police activity coming not only from myself calling, but from other people calling as well.
Okay.
I have contacted the manager several times, and regarding the trees, they've been cut only where I've asked because I've been the nagging, complaining neighbor. But my neighbor's trees get left.
Okay.
Our wall is too short. I can jump it. Anybody can jump it. This has been a big nuisance, not only to myself, but to my neighbors. We have been robbed. We have been up at night, long nights, with noise, construction workers partying, grilling. We even have grilling now in the parking lot. It's been ongoing, and I need to know from you guys, what is our code for that wall? That wall needs to be built up. The hotel needs accountability. Why are these trucks being parked in this parking lot? This is my backyard. This is where I share with my family. It needs to end. We need help because I'm tired. I'm one person, but we're a neighborhood, and I'm speaking for them.
Have you reached out to the code department?
Yes,
Okay.
and I don't even get a response. It's pretty sad.
Who did you reach out to? Do you remember?
I called code enforcement, City of Dania, code enforcement.
Okay. Well, Mark, very. I'm just raise your hand. The same person I directed Charlotte at. We're putting him in charge as a commission because that's his department. And if nothing is resolved, please come back and let us know.
I will.
Thank you.
I will be back here. Just like when Walgreens wanted to put a liquor store there, which was wrong. We're here. This is our home. This is our property value.
I get
All
it.
of ours here.
I get it.
It needs
and I
to stay
respect
up.
it.
Thank you.
I get it. Randall Wright. Good evening. Good, and yourself? Please state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes.
Somebody getting up here jittery and nervous going to be able to do that? My name is Randy Wright, 4391 Southwest 34 Lane. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'll keep this short and to the point. The doors and windows that BCAD has installed in our homes for the mitigation program were not sized and are installed in accordance with the permit details, notes, and the project specifications.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Pardon?
A little closer, just a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you.
Based on the comments by the personnel from the contractor, SNL, Joanne from the Jones Paint Group, and Monica from the BCAD, none of the doors and windows for Group K were installed correctly. Also, our doors and windows did not come from the manufacturer with the proper labels in accordance with the Florida Building Code, nor does the permit/plans include the wind design loads as required by the Florida Building Code. BCAD did not follow their own permit details and notes and the project specifications, which gives specific directions on how the doors and windows were to be measured, sized, and installed. BCAD started construction in our home the 1st of February last year and still has not finished today. To date, BCAD has refused to correct our doors and windows. Any help in getting this matter resolved in a timely manner would be greatly appreciated from the Commission. I would also encourage that you request the Broward County Commission to hire an independent engineer firm to review all work that has been done for the mitigation program to verify that all work meets the permit details, notes, and project specifications. This is based on my own experience and based on reviewing my neighbors' windows and stuff that were not done by code. If you have any questions, I will gladly meet with you individually or as a group.
Hold on, Randall.
Thank you for your time.
Hold on, Randall. Commissioner Grace?
Actually, my question would be to the city manager. Does our city sign off on this, or does Broward County sign off on it?
It's the county that's responsible for the project, not the city. We have worked with them and tried to help citizens with interface with Broward County Aviation Division, which is BCAD, but it is their responsibility.
Can we reach out to them
It's a
to
liaison.
try and have a medium in between so that we can
Sure,
help those residents
we
as
will
much as
sit with them again and try to get a resolution of the problem.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mark? It's your night tonight. You've been working with the residents with this?
Mark has been working on this problem with me, and it still is not being able to be resolved.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
So-
I'll let Mark speak. You can.
Hi, Mark LaFerrier, Community Development Director. Yeah, we've had the opportunity to work with the Wrights and with BCAD to resolve some of the issues. And
Can't
we
hear.
made some good headway on some of the matters, and it's sort of like trying to finish off that last 10% of the project. It's always the last and the hardest thing to do, and I think that's where Mr. Wright is frustrated. But I've been in good contact with Mark Gambrell, who spoke before the commission maybe about 4 months ago, and they're diligently trying to work things out. There may be some disagreements, but you know, that's what happens sometimes when you have a contractor and someone working in your home, but we'll try and get them resolved.
Okay,
We'll
Thank
reach out to them again and try to get their help.
thank you. Patricia Chuckerman. Did you print this one? Please state your name and address for the record.
Patricia Chuckerman, 545 Southeast 4th Court, Dania Beach. I think most of you know me and know how much I love and am involved in this city. We have an unlicensed Airbnb across the street from my house and one street over. I gave Louise a petition. There are a lot of residents who signed it. There are a lot of my neighbors here. So just to dive right into it, there are, if you look on the Airbnb website, there are at least 30 homes that are being used. I didn't get a chance to go to VRBO or Vacation Away. None of these are licensed. Nobody has applied for a permit. So Dania Beach is collecting no money from these people. They're parking on the grass. They're parking on the swale. There are code violations because fire has not been in there. They have no handicap access as far as I know in any of them. I know the one there. Last Saturday night or Sunday night, 2 of the people who were staying in this party house, which is what it is, were drag racing down my little street at 55 miles an hour. We have kids, we have people who walk their dogs. It's just not acceptable. We have no complaint with people who are living in their homes and renting out a room and are there to monitor what is going on. This place is not being monitored at all. It's owned by a corporation. The man comes in once a week. It's all short-term rental, usually 3 days a week. And they're having parties, and God only knows what else they're doing. They're parking on the grass, they're parking on the swale, they're parking where they shouldn't be parking, they're blocking the sidewalk. We don't know about homestead exemption, if this man has applied for homestead exemption, and how that impacts Airbnbs or vacation aways, be it Airbnb or VRBO or any of them. And we want to bring this to the attention of the commission. We would like to have a cease and desist order for this particular property, which is 530 Southeast 4th Court. That's really all I have to say. I think there are several other neighbors here who might like to say a few words about this, but it's a residential neighborhood, and this place is being operated as a hotel.
Okay,
Thank you for your
Commis-
time.
Commissioner Grace.
I just want you to know that I did not take your complaint lightly. I did reach out immediately to BSO and explain to them the situation. This is one of the things that when we go to the League of Cities, we talk about stuff like this, how it's going to impact our cities, and this is not acceptable. I know the neighborhood quite well. I know it's one of our little hidden paradises. I love visiting there. I remember when those homes were built and how proud we were to have that on the tax roll. So the Florida League of Cities, the Broward League of Cities, we'll be having workshops coming up, but we need to initiate something in place for Dania Beach ASAP so that we can protect the residents who are the taxpayers.
As well as collecting whatever taxes, licenses the city is due.
And Mayor,
Is being overlooked.
I convened a meeting last week. We're trying to approach it like the task force that we did over in the Northwest with BSO. Part of the problem is the state legislature now is, as you know, that home rule issue. They're
Yeah.
talking about making
Yes,
them
we
all
know.
legal instead
Why
of
they go to
illegal.
Tallahassee this year.
So we
Very
are
disappointed.
trying to take a directed approach to getting it resolved.
I watched the live stream of the Senate. They did not vote on it. It has not gone to the House of Representatives yet. I reached out to Senator Farmer, and I also talked to Joe
Geller?
yes, both of their assistants. And nobody seems to be in favor of it, or maybe they were just trying to make me
Right.
feel better. But we need to make this an issue. We need to have the city aware of all these things that are going on and do something about it.
Commissioner Brandon Marty.
Yeah. Pat, I'm glad that you came up here and spoke. And you know what I think it is? This Airbnb is brand new to us. It really is. I don't think we ourselves seated up here are even educated to how they should be run, what the laws are govern these Airbnbs. I don't know anything about it. I don't know if anybody else up here. And I think that I would love to see one of us get a speaker, bring it to us, and explain to us. First of all, you're living in your own house. Now you got these transits coming and going. One could be a pedophile. You don't know. He didn't have to register. Why didn't he have to register? Well, it's simple. He went online and he found an Airbnb. Also, the owners of the Airbnb, as I understood, the owners are not listed. Is this so? Does anyone up here know? They're not listed by name in order for us to
They're
find
illegal,
out.
Commissioner. They shouldn't be operating generally
Right.
throughout the city.
But in order for us to know who owns that house, we have to go through the property appraiser in order to find out even who owns that house.
We have that information, and we will be happy to
And
share
you're going to
it.
be only the first of multi-Airbnbs to come. you're only the first problem. Wait, I think that we need more education on what our limits are and what we can do with these Airbnbs. And I had so many people call about the drag racing on your street that I would have been frightened to death if I had a child there.
Or walking your dog. So if you
Well, I don't have a dog, but that's all right.
if you go to Airbnb.com and type in the search bar 530 Southeast 4th Court, their listing will come up. They're also renting it as a 4-bedroom house. I believe it's only a 3-bedroom house. I don't believe the 4th bedroom has a window or any egress.
I don't know the laws that pertain to these Airbnbs. I really don't.
Well, I will tell you that I stayed in one in Venice, California.
Yeah.
And I had to fill out 4 pages of information before she would even accept my reservation to stay in her house that was not even attached to her house, but was separately attached. This guy is doing nothing.
That's fine.
Commissioner
Yeah.
Salvino?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tom, what is the ordinance in our city?
We do have extensive regulations. We were fortunate that before the state preempted, which means took away the ability of the city to regulate these, we passed an ordinance right before that happened, and we have an extensive ordinance. I shared it with the vice mayor a couple days ago. We have met on this topic, as Mr. Baldwin mentioned. We're aware of it. We're working on not just the property you're talking about, but any of the others, and we're trying to get a handle on it. As Mr. Baldwin is also pointing out, and you're aware, there's a very real possibility that we'll be, all city regulation will be taken away from us. We'll know that in a couple of weeks. Hopefully that won't happen, but if it is, there's nothing we're going to be able to do about that except vote for the right people.
So
We are aware of your property, and we're working on it.
So in the meantime, we can't go there and just
We are
cite them?
Yeah, we are citing them. They've
I have
been
a-
cited.
I have a question.
The code compliance has been there.
Question. Mark? Oh, gosh. Just sit right there. I have a question. How many have been cited amongst the ones that you can just type in 33004 and go into
Have been
Airbnb?
cited?
Yes.
Well, we've only got about 3 complaints. We've cited 2. We've talked-
But, okay,
No,
what
I-
I'm saying is you can go on, because none of them, have any of them been registered
We
as a
have none that
business?
have been registered.
Okay, if you go into the Airbnb website and you type in 33004, all of them that are in Dania Beach will pop up, is what I'm saying. And do you need a complaint first to go and cite them? Because if they're already registered as Airbnb, is there a way that you can?
We can cite them
progressive.
if they're advertised for a vacation.
Okay, so if,
So
okay,
if we wanted to be very aggressive, we could. It's important to understand we need to conduct all the evidence, which takes longer than just going on Airbnb's website. Then you have to process the violation. And that's what we talked about when we sat down
okay,
and how we're going to approach it. And there's different ways that you can approach it. We're looking at, and one of them could be that there is a company that does that research for you and brings back the evidence. You have to go through the evidence, make sure it's applicable for your regulations, and then you cite them. And then, of course, the magistrate process requires it gives them time to fill out their paperwork, get registered, get their approval, and then lease the property.
How can they register, though, if this is against our ordinance?
It's not against, the city does allow for vacation rentals. As Tom said, it's very, it's regulated very heavily. But someone could get a licensing, someone could rent out an Airbnb in the city, just like they do in other cities. I think it's,
But it's full of details about you have to have somebody that's responsible, so that if there are issues with the property, someone can be called 24 hours a day. There are a lot of issues, a lot of regulations in our ordinance. It's a very good ordinance.
Vice Mayor?
And they have to have a business tax receipt also posted, visible to the code compliance officer that would happen to visit.
yes, they do, and they also
Okay.
have to have a state license, too.
Okay. And, yeah, they
And
have
all
to be
the necessary
inspected.
inspections that
And
go
the
with
license,
it.
because we had that issue in the neighborhood where I live. So we had 5 homes that were owned by corporations, and I think Eric inspected each one of them for their BTR.
I mean, in summary, they're not, it's not an illegal use. They have to get certifications, inspections, and approvals by the state and local government. So there's
Okay.
a process set up for it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Pat.
For your time.
No problem. Tom McManus? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Oh, great.
Hello, my name is Tom McManus. I live at 565 Southeast Fourth Court. I'm actually Pat's neighbor. I
Okay.
had all of the same complaints that she had. I also called the commission. I called code enforcement. I did read the city's regulations. This house is, that the house is owned by a corporation. They bought the house to rent it out. It's horrible. They're allowed to turn these homes into motels. I've lived on Fourth Court since 1991. We've had no problems at all on the street until this happened. When the drag racing occurred, I happened to be outside. I called BSO, and I will commend BSO, responded immediately, but of course, cars are gone. There's nothing they can do.
Sure.
I just wish the city would do something and at least license the. I see in the city's ordinance that they have to register every guest and have a name for every single guest in the house, which for some of the people that aren't really reputable people would keep them out of the area. Because you would know who's there, such as this incident with the cars racing. All the police would have to do is go to the house and know exactly who's there and what cars they're driving. Because it all has to be by the city's regulation. It all has to be there. So the city
Okay.
could just come out and do something. We would appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Emmanuel George? Please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes.
How you doing? Emmanuel George, 17 Northeast 2nd Avenue, apartment 106. I'm just here just to state my case on, with it being Black History Month, and just continuing to push for a historical site for Dania Beach being Broward's oldest community, first city, and the Northwest Quadrant being the first Black community in Broward County. I'm just pushing for a historical site for Dania Beach. In Carver Ranches, they have the Bowles home, and many other people like Kitty Oliver and Marvin Dunn have been working towards preserving the history of local Black history. So I'm just still here to push for it, and I believe it can be done. We can work with the CRA. There is some mixed-use places that can end up hosting this site, and it's just a great way to preserve our history so the stories don't get lost.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Excuse me, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Grace?
Emmanuel, I'm excited about the viewing of the video for Black History
Yes.
with our pioneers. I know that I announced it today at Gracefully Aging that it will be upcoming real soon so that we can go to the Afro-American Library and view it. How was the viewing on Saturday at the library on Sterling Road, or were we able to implement that?
The viewing at the library on Sterling Road, it was an 80-room max capacity, and 120 people showed up. So there was people lined up on the walls, sitting on the tables. There was people. No one was looking into their phones while they were watching the film. Everyone was glued in. There was parts that was making people laugh, and there was a lot of good questions. And it was a diverse room, white and Black, brown, different people that was there, and pretty much embracing and being surprised to know some of the history that we have in the area. So just the possibility of us knowing more of our local history would definitely be very helpful. And in terms of media as well, I just think it'll definitely be a way to push forward, to push for young Black creatives who are into film and into different forms of expressing themselves besides playing basketball or chasing,
Hey.
music. No offense, no offense.
Just
but,
joking, just joking,
You know,
just joking.
but I mean, we need other we need other avenues. We need to showcase.
I love. I
you know,
understand.
So
Because we're the oldest city in Broward County, the first city, this is Black History Month. I would like for, if this commission is in favor of it, having you show that at our next city commissioner meeting. I don't know how long it is, if you can condense it to perhaps.
well, it's a rough cut of selected scenes, so it's about 11 minutes. What I can do is I can talk to my producer,
Okay.
and I would definitely get her in touch with you and yourself, and we can make that happen.
Our city manager, get in touch with him.
Okay,
Thank
no
you
problem.
so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Tiffany Grantham. Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. Tiffany Grantham, and I live at 1612 North 17th Avenue in Hollywood.
Okay.
And I've come to ask you to please listen to our voices in all of Broward County. We really need this new gas power plant to be a first in renewable energy rather than a last in fracked gas. We're a very progressive county. This would be, Florida Power and Light could easily do a state-of-the-art power plant instead of one that's going to be outdated and old. Please use your voices. This is greatly important to our area, to our earth, and I think we need to start going to all the commission meetings. But thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I hope you can make one phone call to Florida Power and Light.
Thank
and
you.
maybe the commissioners up there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sit for now. Public safety reports. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to start by welcoming Sergeant Chavez to the Dania Beach District. He's one of our midnight shift supervisors now. Know him, he's always out. He's been here 28 years. I believe he started in Dania Beach in 93. He was a rookie here.
Yours truly.
I see he has a lot of hardware on him, a lot of stripes.
But anything you need, he'll be out and about with the rest of the troops. So just wanted to welcome him in front of everybody and let everybody
Welcome.
see him. And
Thank you.
Glad to have you back.
Our crime prevention unit recently completed a comprehensive threat assessment of City Hall inside and out. I gave copies to the city manager before the meeting, so I'm sure he'll have those available. And if you have any questions about anything, I'm always available. Burglary to vehicles remains our top issue. We've been experiencing a lot of Ford tailgate thefts at our hotels. We've conducted numerous hours of surveillance and operations and joint task force type issues with other agencies and other counties. So we're still attempting to apprehend suspects. Citizens with these types of vehicles, we're urging them, please secure your tailgates with aftermarket locks. They sell them out there. They work. A lot of residents I've spoke to are putting GPS into their tailgate. They do come up for sale all over the place. Craigslist, all these aftermarket or online type stores that we see and that I speak about all the time. We've also seen a lot of unlocked vehicles with firearms in the car. I can't imagine somebody leaving a firearm in their car, number one, locked, let alone unlocked. So please just be cautious of your surroundings. Never think that it's okay to leave something in your vehicle. The next case I was going to talk about is an arrest we made on a burglary to a vehicle. It was simply a resident was pumping fuel at one of our gas stations, went to her trunk to get something. Bad guy sees the victim get out without a purse, pull right up, open the car door, reach in, grab the purse, jump into a waiting car. But we did arrest the suspect, but it was 2 months after because the fingerprints came back. We were able to process the scene. It wasn't wet or dirty. So we were able to get fingerprints and run them through the system and came back. We also had a burglary arrest involving a boat at Harbortown Marina. A suspect stole a wire converter that was worth about $3,500, and we found it on one of these online marketplaces that a consignment store had. So we were able to arrange a meeting with the owner of the store, find out who put it up for sale, and got a confession on that. On February 11th, a couple days ago, there was an armed robbery in Hialeah. The MO matched a recent armed robbery we had at our BP station on Federal Highway. So we sent detectives down. A lot of the other agencies that had like robberies sent detectives down to Hialeah, and we were able to obtain full confessions on 24 armed robberies. Not just in the city. That was our one that we experienced here, but Cooper City, Deerfield, Pompano, there was quite a few of them. So that was a really good case. Also, I just want to remind everybody, March 31st is going to be our Shred-a-thon, and Operation Medicine Cabinet is going to be at Bass Pro Shops. And I should have the flyers by next week, so I will get them to everybody. That completes my report. Any questions, concerns, issues?
Commissioner Grace?
I'm just full of talk tonight, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Since you've been here, Chief, we have not had any front porch or driveway initiatives where neighbors get out and meet each other and share our concerns or things that we want for our community. So I would like for you to please put that back in place again, because normally that was very successful and got us an opportunity to make sure that we knew who our next door neighbor was, if they were going out of town or working early or working late, that we would keep our eyes open and our ears to make sure that everybody was safe. And I know that has happened in the city for at least 2 years. Okay, so we need to implement that again.
Not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to all. Sean Brown, Broward Sheriff's Office Fire Rescue. I have no bad guys to report of tonight. Actually, I have nothing to report this evening. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, Commissioner Brandon Marty.
I'd like to thank you for today's quick response to come to IT Parker. They must have came by plane because we had a senior that had fallen ill during our senior luncheon there. They responded, and it was wonderful. I want to thank you for how fast they came.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's it.
Should have some more tickets.
Those are so nice. Consent agenda. Do we have any pulls? All right.
7.6.
Motion to approve with the exception of 7.6.
Right.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
7.6 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, denouncing statements of bigotry and requesting President Donald Trump to conduct himself with the dignity that the office of the presidency deserves, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date.
Okay, listen. Here's the way I look at this Donald Trump thing. It's a federal government issue and not one of my city, and I would like to ask for a roll call vote. Am I allowed to do that?
That's what we're going to have to do anyway.
Yeah, we're going to get it.
We're going to have to, at the discussion,
I don't have any discussion. I'm
well,
just
that's
not
what
a
you're
federal.
doing.
No, no.
I'm saying
what
after what you do, we're going to have to vote on it.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah.
We're together.
huh? Do we have a motion?
I have a motion
What's your motion?
to accept this resolution.
Do we have a second? I'll second it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
No.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
No.
Vice Mayor Harris?
No.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Okay, the motion failed.
Okay. Next thing, bids and requests for proposals. We have none. Public hearings.
9.1, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, amending the future land use plan map, LU 12115, of the Dania Beach Comprehensive Plan pursuant to a request submitted by Green Spoon Martyr, PA, Dennis Mealy, Esquire, on behalf of the property owner Sterling Alia LLC, to change the land use of approximately 8.3 gross acres as legally described in Exhibit A attached to this ordinance, from commercial 1.6 gross acres and low 5 residential 6.7 gross acres to irregular 23.74 residential, 8.3 gross acres, for property located at 2851 Sterling Road, providing for transmittal to the Broward County Planning Council and state agencies, providing for adoption pursuant to Section 163.3184 Florida statutes, requesting recertification from the Broward County Planning Council, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, further providing for an effective date. It's the second reading of this ordinance. There's two more companion matters which I'll read as well. And the next one is 9.2, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, approving the request made by Dennis Mealy, Esquire, Greenspoon Martyr, PA, agent for the property owner Sterling Elia LLC to rezone the property located at 2851 Sterling Road in the City of Dania Beach, Florida, as legally described in Exhibit A, a copy of which is attached to this ordinance, changing the current zoning classification of the property from RS 6000, single family 6,000, and C2, commercial business, to multifamily 25 dwelling units per acre, RM2. Application number RZ 10417, subject to certain restrictions, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, further providing for an effective date. It's the second reading of that ordinance. The next item is related. It's a resolution, but it's going to be, at the request of the applicant, continued to the March 13th City Commission meeting. Nonetheless, anybody who is here can address this because it's a public hearing.
City Attorney, what's the date again?
March 13. The resolution title is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, approving the site plan SP 10117 and variances VA 00418, VA 00518, VA 00618 submitted by Sterling Elia LLC for the property located at 2851 Sterling Road in the City of Dania Beach, Florida, as legally described in Exhibit A, a copy of which is attached to this resolution, providing for conditions, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date. For this matter, these matters rather, and the one for the McLaughlin Engineering SDS Development, anybody who's going to address the commission, including city staff, these are called quasi-judicial proceedings. Anybody who's going to speak, other than attorneys, the attorneys won't be giving testimony, but anybody who's going to speak on these matters has to be sworn in as required by state law. So anybody who's going to speak on the ALIA matter or the SDS property for McLaughlin Engineering, would you please stand for a minute, other than lawyers? Anybody who's going to speak, swear or affirm the testimony to give, be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Please be seated. And public hearing.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Corinne LaJoy, Planning and Zoning Manager. Now, this is second reading of the text amendment. First reading you heard was in May of 2017, and I'm happy to go through it. It's been a while. I'm happy to go through the presentation again. They are asking for an amendment to the land use designation on the property. It's going from commercial and single family to irregular residential multifamily. And this is the site of the St. Maurice, the previous site of the St. Maurice property. So I can do the presentation if you like, but I know the applicant here as well. This is only for the land use. I can speak to the zoning quickly as well. The zoning is going from commercial and residential to multifamily as well, and they kind of go together. And this is both of these are necessary in order to enable the site plan to come forward, which they're asking to continue until a month from today, so March 13th for the site plan.
Okay.
All right. This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this? I do have one. James Valson. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, James Valsane, 18 Northwest 3rd Street. How y'all doing? Thank you for your time. Hey, Ms. Grace. Just real quick, I don't know if this is a time to do this, but this frac gas plant that's being planned in the middle of Dania Beach without any public commentary, I think it's like, we need community input. It's absolutely unacceptable that the community was not actually informed on it. And what I just saw up here where, what happens federally affects us on the local level, it's not that hard to condemn Trump. The guy's like terrible. I can't believe that didn't just happen. But that's all. We should get community input on this frac gas plant. And yeah, F Trump. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Anyone else to speak for or against this? No? Okay.
And so you vote on this item separately?
We're voting on 9.1. Do we have a
Motion to approve.
Do we have a
Second.
Whatever.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandemart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
9.2 is the rezoning.
This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this?
Move the item.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandimart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
And 9.3, a motion for continuance to March 13th commission meeting, please.
This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this, even though it is being continued. To what meeting?
For the site plan, for the March 13th.
For the March 13th meeting.
Motion to continue to March 13th, 2018.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandimart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
9.4 is an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, to amend Chapter 28 of the Land Development Code of the city's Code of Ordinances by amending Article 110 use regulations for commercial and mixed-use districts to address requirements to allow outdoor seating, amending Article 115 schedule of permitted uses to address uses concerning automobiles and storage facilities in certain zones, amending Article 302 detailed use regulations to address certain special exception uses and permitted uses for civic and institutional uses, general commercial uses, restricted commercial uses, and industrial uses, amending Article 303 or district development standards, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, providing for inclusion in the code, further providing for an effective date. It's the first reading of this ordinance, continued from the January 23, 2018 commission meeting, but again, there's a request by the department to also continue this hearing until March 13th commission meeting. Although people can
Okay.
speak if they're here on it.
This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this, even though it is being continued?
Make a motion.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandimart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
9.5, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, approving the site plan SP 104-14 MOD, sign variances VA 007-18, and exceptions from design standards OT 008-18, submitted by McLaughlin Engineering Company on behalf of SDS Development Trust, LLC, care of Sharon Cheruby, for property located at 2618 to 2648 Griffin Road in the City of Dania Beach, Florida. As legally described in Exhibit a copy of which is attached to this resolution, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date.
Good evening. Corinne Joy, Planning and Zoning Manager. This action before us today is a site plan modification. So it was previously approved, but they're making changes, so we brought it back forward to you to review those changes. The property is zoned commercial, C2. It is land use commercial as well. It's on Griffin Road, so it is part of the principal arterial corridor. The property is approximately 1.5 acres in size on the south side of Griffin Road. The majority of the property is undeveloped. 2015 is when the City Commission previously saw this, and at that time, rezoning, flex, plat, and site plan were approved for the property. The modified site plan proposed today is for 2 buildings totaling 14,000, a little over 14,000 square feet. The access points remain the same as previous site plan. It did go from 3 buildings down to 2, but the floor area, the square footage expanded just a little bit. These changes are being made to accommodate a Dollar Tree at that location. This is the site. It's, as you can see, it's on south side of Griffin Road. They did assemble in 2015 multiple properties, so they were able to have a viable redevelopment site. A lot of the commercial properties along Griffin Road are very shallow, but they were able to assemble some property here. So the first thing that they're asking for are some exemptions to the principal arterial design standards. And there's 3 exemptions that are being requested, and that's to allow no building overhang or roof overhang, to allow no windows or doors along the west building elevation, and to allow 4 building colors. The land development regulations do identify criteria by which you're to use to decide on exemptions and if they're to be approved. The applicant did provide justification based on these criteria as part of the application package as to how their requests meet those criteria. There are 2 variances being requested today. They're relating to signs. They're asking for a wall sign, the letter height of the wall sign to be greater than code allows, and they're asking for 36 inches for the letter height, and they're asking for a 212.76 square foot wall sign, which is greater than what the land development regulations permit. And again, the land development regulations identify criteria specific to sign variances The applicant did provide justification based on that criteria as part of their application package. And I just wanted to touch briefly on some of the previous approval because there were some variances associated with that site plan. There were 3, and at that time, these were granted. It was to provide no double row of trees along the south property line, to provide no additional road dedication on the road to the west, and to reduce the landscape islands. So those variances remain valid today. Per the resolution that was approved in 2015, the previous site plan approved by the City Commission required channelized exit onto Southwest 26th Terrace. As we went through the DRC process, the applicant identified that they weren't wanting to abide by that condition, but we recently received multiple letters of concern from residents asking specifically that that channelized exit be maintained. Since then, the applicant has provided us in writing that they are willing to do that. So I think that alleviates a lot of the concern from the residents that they had. So that channelized left turn is now going to be a condition again of approval that the applicant is willing to do. As I said before, the site plan is for 2 retail buildings, same access points. The city engineer did confirm that he received and accepted the traffic statement for the leasable area that's identified, and he reviewed that traffic statement. The applicants indicated that they did outreach. We've been asking all the developers to reach out to the residents. At the time that they did that, they said that there was no objections received by the residents. But since then, we've received a lot of numerous reports from the residents. So we've been trying to correspond with that. Most of it was related to the channelized turn, which the developer is aware of, and we've worked through with the residents. This did go through the Development Review Committee in October and December. There are several outstanding DRC comments that remain. They're identified in the staff report and the resolution. This is just a rendering of the new site plan. There's one building here up along Griffin Road, and this is the second building. This is where the Dollar Tree will be located. And these are the building elevations that they're proposing. As I stated, the City Commission previously saw this in 2015. And at this point, approval of the exemptions, variance, and site plan modification resolution that's before you has all the outstanding DRC comments as conditions in that resolution, should you approve that. And I know the applicant's here to make a presentation, but I'm available if you have any questions as well.
Commissioner Grace?
Yeah, Corinne, I like the presentation, and I really like what's happening on Griffin Road. As I drive out there to have dinner, it's refreshing to see new places. I was very impressed with the Family Dollar, the way that they put that building there. It would be nice when we have the applicants come before us, you and Mark, to address some of the concerns. I don't think we would have the problem that we have today with Sleep In if we'd have put something in progress to make sure that those residents were protected from what they're going through now. So as we do this, we try to add a community component to it. And I've asked the city attorney to piggyback on what they've done in Lauderdale Lakes and some of the other cities when they have projects coming before us, that we can add components like that that will only make it better for the community, enhance the project, and also enhance the community component of it also. It's good.
Okay, do the applicant wants to come up, or do you want to see? Okay.
Good evening, Commission. I'm Bill Hamill. I'm here on behalf of Cush Property for the proposed development on Griffin Road, and we appreciate you all taking the time to go through our project. And I'm here if anybody has any questions regarding the project, or if there's any issues that need to be handled. I'm here to answer any of those things. I know that we did have some conversation with the neighbors on the channelized exit on 26th Avenue. It was we intended to do that through our DRC, but for somehow in the paperwork it got shuffled. But we are going to do the north exit on 26th Avenue for to calm the traffic into the neighborhood on that south side. So We are going to be doing that process. And we had one other question about the dumpster location. And we met with the adjacent property owner, and we didn't meet with him. I spoke with him on the phone, and we came to a consensus that he's okay where the dumpster is. And I explained to him we would do everything that in our powers to not have the dumpster empty during, midnight hours when someone's sleeping, and then you have the dumpster early morning and all that. So we're going to abide by the rules that pertain to the dumpster requirements as far as maintenance and keeping them and the code requirements.
Okay. Commissioner Salvino?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I do know that the Sharabi family and Cooch Properties have always been a stand-up in our city. They've done a lot of other developments, and everything that they've done has been done right. They've always kept their word to everything they've done. They've always had outreach to the residents and the citizens that are around them. I'm sure whatever problems come up, they're more than willing to correct it. So I just wanted to say that.
Okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this?
Move the item.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Brandimart?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Harris?
Yes.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Thank you.
10.1 is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Dania Beach, Florida, approving a loan to partially finance development of the Saratoga Crossings housing development and authorizing the city manager to execute the loan documents, providing for conflicts, further providing for an effective date.
I need room.
The applicant is here with her presentation.
Can't even turn the page on that thing. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Lindsay Lacour with Atlantic Pacific Communities. We're located at 2950 Southwest 27th Avenue in Miami. Last month, we came before you for approval of our site plan, and we appreciate your support on that. We're here tonight to ask for your approval on the last piece of the puzzle that will allow this development to proceed to closing, the local government loan. I've had a chance to meet with several of you over the past few weeks and hear your questions and concerns about this redevelopment. My goal tonight is to try and put most of these concerns to rest so that this is an easier decision for you. The Atlantic Pacific team, some of whom are here tonight, we've given many local communities with troubled housing authority sites a fresh start. We've completed 17 public housing redevelopments, 13 of those in Broward. Altogether, almost 2,000 affordable apartments we've brought online for housing authorities. What does this mean for you? You have experienced experts leading the process to develop, build, lease, and property manage Saratoga Crossings. I have personally led our team's efforts on Broward redevelopments for over 12 years. And it's interesting to note that the developments on the screen above never needed local government loans like the one we're asking for tonight, until the state government changed the rules of the game a couple years ago. And I'll get into more detail about that in a few minutes. First, let's talk about why we're here tonight. The existing units need to come down. Last month at the site plan hearing, the residents of Saratoga spoke about the challenges they live with every day: mold, rodents, termites, etc. The City Commission did not create the problems at Saratoga, but you have the power to fix them. This is not the first time that we at AP have come into a municipality and seen housing in deplorable condition, with residents asking the Commission to help change a situation that it didn't create. And it isn't the first time that we've seen a City Commission lack confidence in its housing authority or its leadership. With your help, we can fix all of that. The redevelopment of Saratoga Crossings is an important part of the incredible renaissance going on in Dania Beach. To quote your CRA's plan, this redevelopment will provide quality housing that is affordable and provides housing choice to residents, including the elderly. Specifically, to remind you, we're replacing 39 aging public housing units with 172 state-of-the-art apartments. And beyond the expansion of affordable housing stock in Dania Beach, the new Saratoga Crossings will provide many benefits, not just for the families and seniors that live there, but for the greater community. For example, a more resilient infrastructure. And that means Saratoga will be a safe place to be during and after a hurricane. We're putting in impact windows. We're undergrounding utilities. The mayor has asked for solar street lighting, and we will provide that. This will be a safe and secure site. It's been designed to meet crime prevention through environmental design standards. There will be live monitored cameras, security guards. This will be a connected site. There will be free Wi-Fi in the common areas. We'll be providing programming for the residents, literacy training, employment assistance, I hope aging gracefully. Understandably, there is always some anxiety around moving and relocation. This is why we hire experts to manage the process. AP has worked with the Urban Group on several public housing redevelopments, and the Urban Group has done more than 4,000 relocations, 2,500 of them for public housing households. As a reminder, the current residents will receive a Section 8 voucher to relocate anywhere in Broward while we're under construction. All their moving expenses will be covered. Assistance will be provided for security deposit and utility setup, and those residents will have the first right to return upon completion. I don't think there's much debate about whether the redevelopment is needed or desirable, so why the loan? In the subsequent slides, I'm going to walk you through why the loan is required, how we have made it risk-free to the city, and why the loan is ultimately an excellent investment. We are not here looking for subsidy to balance our budget. We're here because without your $637,000 loan, the other $41 million that we've lined up for this redevelopment will not come in. In 2016, Florida Housing Finance Corporation, which is the state tax credit allocating agency, changed their rules, essentially prioritizing tax credit awards to municipalities that provide larger investments in affordable housing. As a result, 100% of the tax credit awards under this new system went to cities like Dania Beach, which committed significant dollars to their affordable developments. The only reason we are here and prepared to start this redevelopment is because of your loan commitment. Without it, the development does not move forward, and this $41 million will go to another municipality in Broward. Furthermore, we have ensured that the city's dollars will be the last dollars in and the first dollars out. Your loan will fund after construction is already complete and will be repaid within 5 years, which is the minimum allowed by Florida Housing. Atlantic Pacific, much less our lenders and investors, would never allow a $637,000 loan to risk causing a default on a $41 million investment. So you're in an incredibly safe position as a practical matter. But we aren't asking you to simply rely on us to be practical. Instead, we are posting the entire amount of the loan in a cash collateral account until the loan is repaid. While this is not the typical structure for these local contributions, we recognize that there hasn't been a history of trust at Saratoga. So we wanted to go the extra mile. And there's no better guarantee than cash in the bank. Look at the ratio of city funds to private funds. Every $1 loaned from Dania Beach will bring $66 of outside funds. And remember, the city's loan will be fully repaid within 5 years, guaranteed in cash. So to recap, this redevelopment, which I think we all agree should happen, can only happen with the city's loan. I would prefer not to be here asking you for a loan tonight. but the folks in Tallahassee have made that a necessary part of the tax credit process. We've structured a risk-free loan with an incredible return on investment that will benefit the current families at Saratoga and create more affordable housing that will benefit more citizens of Dania Beach for generations to come. This is your opportunity to turn a troubled public housing development into a success story that goes with the rest of the renaissance underway in Dania Beach. Please vote in favor of this loan. Thank you.
Sorry. You want a question for her? Okay, come back. Commissioner Brandon Marty?
I have a question for you. You made a statement here saying that the people that would get their vouchers and leave, that they would be the first persons that would have the rights to come back.
That's correct.
Question. In that length of time, are they also going to be re-screened?
They will go through a screening.
That's all I needed to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just make one more point there, that we have the ability to make the screening process more lenient as necessary to allow those residents to come back.
Ma'am, you'd have to put it in writing that every one of them would be entitled to come back there. Because let me tell you what I've learned in all of my 81 years. When you go and you live somewhere and the first time you give the landlord a problem, and I get a voucher to go live somewhere else, do you think for 1 second he's going to let me come back? No matter how lenient it is, it still goes back to the board of the housing to say, oh, well, no, Mary went up before the commission. She said this, she said that. My point is they are not guaranteed to go back into that housing. Am I correct?
I would point out that
I want an answer.
I can't guarantee.
Thank you. That's all I asked.
I would also just make one more point, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
The Housing Authority is not managing the lease-up and the property management process of this development. We at Atlantic Pacific Communities would be doing that.
But they will be managing the tenants that will be coming back.
Thank you. And they will be
We will be performing those duties.
Is the executive director of the Housing Authority present tonight?
No, we asked that we be here on behalf. She's
So
not here.
yes, she's asking for $637,000 and she's not here.
Who cares?
The vice chair of the commission is here.
No, that's okay. I understand, sir. You can't speak from there, so if you got to come to the mic. And if not,
I'll be here.
Thank you very much. As you may
Please
know,
state your name
my name
and
is Derek
address
Hankerson.
for the record.
I reside at 746 Southwest 3rd Street, Dania Beach. It's a pleasure to be before you tonight. As was previously described to you, the reason we're here is a matter of state law. Commissioner Brandemarte, you asked a question that is very simple for me to answer. HUD has a myriad, the Housing and Urban Development Department of the federal government has a myriad of regulations that we must comply with. Some are monthly, some are annual. One of those things is we must recertify every applicant, their income, the number of persons in their household every year. That must be documented, put into our files. Every year, we are also audited. Our files are audited to make sure that we are in compliance with HUD laws. So, even though what the young woman just stated is technically correct, yes, our applicants who are given those Section 8 vouchers will have the right of first refusal. However, if they have gone to school and secured a $70,000 a year job and financially no longer qualified for the program, then they would not be readmitted with a voucher. Now, they can always pay out of pocket, but we do have people that what we call graduate from the program. They no longer need the service. So if you no longer qualify for various reasons, including if you are convicted of trafficking methamphetamine, if you are convicted of rape, you are never permitted back into a HUD program. So there are some exceptions. If you no longer financially qualify, if you have certain convictions. So we don't just take anybody off the street. Does that answer your question?
No, okay, one more on that. Thanks for coming up too, Derek. Let's say that I'm one of those people and I've got 3 kids. Now, in that 1 year's time, hopefully I got a boyfriend.
Maybe yes, maybe no. That's
Maybe
not for us
no.
to say.
I don't know. At my age, who wants me? But anyway, the point I'm getting at is this. Those kids are in those schools. My children are happy. I'm happy. Now, you would have the right to say, oh, no, now your paperwork has changed in that 1 year's time, and now you no longer qualify to be here.
We have that authority every year. It is not
I've seen it
discretionary.
happen
It
there.
is not discretionary. It is not discretionary. Code is code. Law is law. Policy is policy.
But they're
It
not
is-
married.
It is, what I'm saying to you is, it is not discretionary. For example, you may have a longtime partner, you may be ill, this person may qualify and be certified by your doctor as your caregiver. You're not married. That's not for us to say. We have to follow HUD policy. It's not arbitrary, it is not subjective. It's objective.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You finished with your- Okay. My question is, there are 39 families that, if approved, would be moving out. If all 39 families don't come back, it was explained to me that the remaining would not be vouchered units.
I don't quite understand. If all
Okay.
39 families do not come and use those vouchers,
Yes, the rest of them will be exactly the same format as the existing 133 units.
let
Okay,
me-
we're gonna let the,
Okay, please. Thank you.
Okay. There will be 44 project-based voucher units within the development, regardless of the 39 Section 8 vouchers.
So
that
if they
can
move
go
out
elsewhere.
of those, are you going to then place those units as market value, or will they always 44 will always be there to
Correct.
be?
There are no market units in this development, market rate units.
Oh, well, I mean, affordable housing units.
Yes. So the 44 will be there.
No matter what.
Right.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against this? Please state your name and address for the record.
Sharon Higgs, 1115 Unit C. I live in Saratoga, and some of the questions that she was asking, we have inspections once a year. And if someone lives in our house and we don't report the income, then that's a violation. So some of the things that you were saying, we already go through that. That's in every housing situation, from Fort Lauderdale to wherever. If you don't do right or you get arrested now, that I'm living there now, if I was to go to jail, or anybody that live in my unit was to go to jail and get a felony, we automatically get kicked off. So,
Do you know all of the all of the screening qualifications that's going to be there? Because I was told there are 2 different screenings that is included with you all coming back.
no, well, I wasn't really
Okay.
concerned about
I-
coming back.
Well, I know you aren't. You
Yeah,
understand what
but
I'm saying?
other
But you're
people,
not
yeah.
the only one living there.
Right, but
So
no,
when
what
you're
they was telling-
rescreened, they can add additional things to that screening.
But if we're qualified for it,
This is not. This is a different development, is what I'm saying.
it's a voucher though. But
I understand what you're saying.
there's certain things you have to go through, but what I'm saying is, we go through these things anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Every year, we have to bring in everything. Got some people who don't work and report that they don't have any income, and then they file taxes. And then they got to bring that in, and then they can lose their voucher because they lied during the whole year and say they wasn't working, and then they say they working, but, okay. Well, all right.
No. You can speak. Okay. Anyone else?
One clarification, because I know that's important to you and to
Okay.
the residents. There will not be more stringent standards applied to the residents returning. I just want to state that very clearly. If anything, we can apply more lenient standards to returning residents.
Well, that's
We
what-
can
that's
have
not what I
no
was
credit
told.
requirements for return residents. As long as they do not have a drug-related or violent felony during the relocation period, they will be able to move back to Saratoga.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else to speak for or against? Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record. Speak in the mic for me, please.
My name is Casey Elders, and I live at 1115A West Dania Beach Boulevard. I've only lived there for approximately a little over a year. I'm coming from a homeless shelter, Plymouth Colony, and then before that was from Susan B. Anthony. So I've worked my way up to housing, which I'm very, very grateful for. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because for me, I'm grateful to have a little bit of mold because I have a wall to have mold. I'm grateful to have some leaky pipes because I have pipes that leak. I have pipes, get it? So for me, my standards are high, but for others, that's a low standard. But I'm grateful to have housing. I didn't know that these were issues that were a problem. We have a lot of air that, what comes out of the air vents literally is just trash. Like, I don't know when the last time the air vent's been cleaned, but it's a breathing problem. You can see it all over the floors the moment you mop. I didn't know, like, these are new issues. Having housing is a new issue. And then you have to worry about things like mold, things about, oh my goodness, we went through the hurricanes. I live on the bottom floor. How does my ceiling leak? I live on the bottom floor. I had almost 4 corners of my house on the bottom floor. Water should be coming up, not down. We were so scared. We actually boarded up the outside of the home, which means we had to bust into the concrete steps because our windows are definitely not safe at all, not up to code. And that was terrifying, and I had nowhere, I'm homeless, I have nowhere else to go. I'm from Polk County, no family, no friends. And that, I had to board up in that place and pray. And God answered my prayer because it went around the other side. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous, but
Okay.
that's just one thing. Like I said, I'm grateful to have those problems, but I didn't know they were problems. Do you understand? I have a 2.5-year-old baby. That was one of the, my mom's like, please, Casey, please, please, please come to Polk County. I'm glad I didn't because it hit them too. I don't know. It's scary to have these issues, even though I'm grateful to have these issues, you know? Just little things like that. I'm okay with finding a roach on the floor. I have a home for roaches to come to.
I got you.
That makes any sense.
Yes. Thank you. Anyone else to speak for or against this? Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Tamora Brown, 1125C, West Dania Beach Boulevard. The new commissioner over on the Dania Beach Housing Board. Just basically the same thing. We're just, I said it before, and I'm just here to just ask, that everybody just let's just really think about it and just look at how we're living, what we're going through. We understand that, $637,000. It's a lot of money. It is. However, for the betterment of residents that's already there and that's previously there, and Ms. Chicky, I heard what you was asking about the rules and the regulations and things of that nature. That's automatically into play. And even though the same things, they still stand, they still remain the same. But now sitting on the other side and looking and actually seeing and knowing myself and actually looking and seeing it is what it is. And that's what we have to go through. We have to follow rules and regulations. As far as if we move out and we come back, when it's time to come back, if you leave, like the young lady just said, you leave and you go get convicted of a crime, you lose everything anyways, regardless. That's whether you're on housing or you're off housing. It's the same thing. As far as other people living with you, it's rules and regulations that you have to follow. You have to add them on your lease. If they're not on your lease, they have to go. You have to go. It's either or. There's no way around it. But at the end of the day, I feel that this is actually would be much better for us to live in. Not only us that's already there, but other people that's in the community as well. So I'm just asking for you guys to just please, just compassionately heartfelt as women and mothers, as us, that's over there. And just really just think about what we're going through, what we're facing. That's all. And if you never step out on faith and give it a try, how will we know?
Commissioner Brandon Martin?
What frightens me more than anything is we fight for a second chance. You know what that's about, right? We fight for it like crazy.
justice.
Somebody's convicted of a drug offense. I don't think you should have that record for marijuana. And a lot of our young adults got this with them forever and ever. And I get scared because I'm thinking that 1 year, that's that one guy who probably never did anything wrong in his life, but his friend did, he gets in trouble for, and he's not only is he going to lose his reputation, but even his roof. And I don't like that. I think I'm one of those that felt this way. If I knew every one of those people were guaranteed to go back unless they committed rape or murder, I'd be different. But I fight for a second chance for all the kids today. I got 2 sons, so you can read what I'm talking about. They condemn you once, it's forever. Forever, you're no darn good. I hate that. And we learned that at League of Cities, too, and we fight for those rights. I just, in my heart, I just don't have faith enough in the fact of that re-screening process. I've been down that road before. I have no faith in it.
Okay, well, just to give you a little clarity, I'm just over there, appointed commissioner on the housing board over there. And just a little bit about myself as far as criminal-wise is concerned. I am a convicted felon, ex-convicted felon. I am on housing, have been on housing for 7 years through the screenings, the same screening that they're going to implement in this same infrastructure. I went through that very same screening. It doesn't bar, I'm not going to say that it disqualifies a person if you're a convicted felon that you cannot receive public assistance or housing from them. It has to be a certain, there's a grace period. That's just like with a convicted felon. They have to wait like 10 to 15 years in order to go and try to file for a pardon or a clemency in order to bear arms. It's the same thing. The only difference is it's housing and that bearing arms. It's basically the same thing. And again, just to give you just a little clarity to try to help you just understand, I am an ex-convicted felon. I've been living over there for 7 years.
And do you know what that board thought about your residency there?
I could only imagine, but at the end of the day,
okay. Because I know exactly what I'll say the executive director, because I can't speak for the entire board. I'll speak with who I spoke with, what she thinks about a lot of people that stays there. I know about her wanting to evict you and residents that were there.
I'm one.
And guess what?
I'm
Well,
one.
I'm
No,
just
I
gonna,
came up
no,
here.
no,
I came
wait,
up here from the
wait,
beginning.
wait. Let me speak. And what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, the only thing that bothers me is that you all are in the position that you all are in, this infrastructure, this housing development, and it is not the commission's fault, as she pointed out. That's not our problem to fix it, but I understand where you all are coming from. If I was sitting where you were sitting, I would be right here where you all are fighting for it as well. It's not, you guys should have been holding your housing authority board accountable for having mold, for having rats, for having infestation, for having your roof leaking.
I said the same thing.
Listen, if it
But
were
in
me,
the beginning, I didn't
hold
know,
on,
so that's why I first came
wait a
over
second,
here.
baby. Wait a second, baby. If it were me, I would have been at Help Me Howard, Channel 7, Channel 10, Channel 6. I would have been there. I would have been there with every last one of you residents that are here. I would have been there because it is their responsibility to ensure that you have a safe place to live. And what it sounds like is that what it sounds like is that everyone has come here and said the city can help fix this problem, but what has been going on, because I lived in that same community. I've been born and raised, and I grew up in that same community, and nothing has been done to uplift that same community. Let me ask you another question. What programs did the Housing Authority Board have for you all? I know I'm asking the residents.
She works for it, too.
And she's a resident. She lives there. What programs does the Housing Authority Board have for you all?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Let me have Mr. Hankerson if he wants to speak.
Thank you so much for letting me come back. There are a couple things I want to share. First and foremost, these public housing buildings were built a couple decades ago. I was appointed by, I believe it was at the time Mayor Bob Anton, to the Housing Authority back in 2008. I served for a year and a half. I actually was finishing off someone else's term. At the time, we were under different direction. We had a different manager, or excuse me, a different director. We had different staff. And let me just say that I'm an openly gay man. I ended up bringing a male to our company Christmas party one year. It's fine if it's undercover, but when I came out, it wasn't so much okay. It was alleged that because I spoke to another director about the purchase of a used car, I was violating sunshine rules. A couple months later, my term was up and I was not reappointed. I found out a few months later that I was being slandered by the executive director, who was making allegations because of my sexual orientation.
Right.
I came back to the Housing Authority, I addressed the board, and told them that I wanted an apology, and I was tired of the way this type of activity was going on in Dania Beach. I wasn't having it. They have deep pockets, and I was personally going after them. I got the public apology I wanted. Now, that executive director retired a year later. During that time, another one was hired, and that board has changed. There are those of us there who are dedicated. We didn't cause these problems either, but we have to fix them. I've just come back from a national conference in San Diego in which I've learned a lot about HUD policies, programs, etc. And what this will help us do, the reason we're here, we have money in reserve. The state requires, as part of this loan process, for us to bond and work with our local municipality. They want us to be partners because we are your affordable and low-cost housing affiliate. That's what we do. Now, once this land lease goes in and we're able to pay you back, what some of the other cities are doing is they have programs so that they can offer stuff on site so that our people can learn. But until we actually have the revenue, we're busy right now trying to patch and fix. We want our community to be lifted up. We live here. We drive around this city. I served on this urban infill committee back in 2001. It was a joint venture between the city of Dania, FIU, FAU. The former head of that program came back to talk with us a few weeks ago, and I literally went home that night and cried because of how little has been done. This will be a catalyst for change for the neighborhood. And I don't want to say that we don't want your help. We want your help. We need your help. We want this to be a better community. Once the land lease money starts coming in, we want to develop other programs, not just for our residents, but we want to do first-time buyer programs for the city.
Well, how many programs do you currently have?
Right now, we just have Section 8, and we have our public housing. That's it.
No, to help the residents.
That's it. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
Okay, so there's nothing that,
No.
because I've met with
No.
a number
Yeah.
of executive directors who have a lot of programs.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing from you is, unless you get the money, that's how you will be able to do these programs.
Let me put it to you this way. Money is very tight. Right now, we don't even know how much money we are going to be budgeted for the fiscal year that began October 1st. So we're doing it on a wing and a prayer. As we know, Congress has not passed a full budget yet. We're still waiting. We're spending money based on what we guess will happen. So we're basing it on what we think that the budget cuts may be based on what we were allocated last year, what our numbers are right now versus how many units we think we will still be able to operate with. We're not
Okay.
going out of existence. We want it better.
Okay.
We want more, but we don't have anything else right now.
Okay.
Any
Commissioner
questions?
Brandon Marty, your light is on.
That's
No?
it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak for or against this? Okay, one more. Okay.
Promise this is it. I just want to state that many of these challenges that this housing authority has seen, we see with other housing authorities that are reliant entirely on HUD, that does not give them enough dollars to put the capital money back in, to fix these up, to do the program, especially when you only have 39 units. This development has the scale to provide that kind of programming. We're building amenity space into these buildings to have these kinds of resident programs. And I just want to reiterate that this is a professional organization that will be managing this process in addition to another third-party professional relocation consultant that has to follow all the rules to make sure that everybody is treated appropriately as they are relocated out and back. So I really hope that you take this opportunity. They don't come very often. We spend years sometimes, years and years and years trying to get tax credits for these developments. You have this right here with one vote. This moves forward. I really ask you to please consider voting in favor of this loan.
Thank you. Did you want to speak, Ms. Monica? Hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, get to the mic. It's okay, baby.
I'm a Monica Kelsey. I live at 1125 West Dania Beach Boulevard, apartment D. When I first moved to, I'm going back on the, what you just asked, like the promotions or whatever, because they did have some, the programs, they did have some where the families wasn't participating. They would have toy drive where the kids would go get
Oh, no,
toys.
I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
I'm talking about helping you fix your credit. I'm talking about helping you save
Moving
money
out
to
of
be the
Section 8 to another apartment,
first-time home buyer. I'm talking
Oh,
about
okay,
furthering your
okay,
education.
okay.
Thank you.
You know,
Yes.
Okay.
We have a couple more than.
Okay.
Hi.
Name and record. Name and address of the
sorry,
record,
James
please.
Valsain, 18 Northwest 3rd Street. Thank you all again. Just wanted to speak on this. This is like just plain old gentrification. That's all this really is. I mean, the residents, my friends, community advocates, we literally canvassed the Saratoga apartments, knocking on doors, speaking to the residents. And this is a scheme that's been going on for the longest, where there's a bunch of people living there who have things on their records, who can't afford to rent, and they're literally being blackmailed by the landlords of this establishment. So whatever game they got going on here, where they act like, oh, they're going to look out for the best interests of the residents, it's not happening. It's not happening. Mass incarceration is real. Black and brown people get locked up, have criminal records all the time, and developers are constantly looking for a way to take away from them and to take advantage of hardships. So y'all protect the residents, do your job. I know you're doing your job, Mayor Tamara. Bobby Grace, I know you're here for the people. The rest of y'all need to stand up for the people. Forget about these developers and forget about this money they throwing at y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Vice Mayor. Hold on, you're at the Vice Mayor. Vice Mayor?
All right, so I hear a lot of discussion about all these things tonight, and I just want to voice my opinion on some of these. As an elected official, it's part of our responsibility to try to make our communities a better place. That's what this will do. This is the time for this commission to make a difference in the quality of life of the people that live there and the people that are yet to come to Dania Beach. It will also help preserve the history and heritage of the community by the ones that are returning. It'll be a safe environment to raise their families. It will be state-of-the-art housing with solar lighting, impact windows and underground utilities, landscaping, and Energy Star appliances that will reduce the energy costs. During a hurricane, which will undoubtedly come at some point, the area of the Saratoga Crossings will be a safe place during the storm. Impact windows, the young lady was talking about her windows. Well, you won't have those window problems anymore. You'll have new impact windows. And the 2018 building codes will enable the residents to stay in their homes and not have to run from the storm. And then after the storm is over, we'll have underground utilities so the lights will be on so people can stay in their homes. The senior component will be a safe haven for the elderly and will give the residents a chance to interact, young people and old people together, living in the same place. How great would that be? With the relocation vouchers, the residents will be able to look forward to their new home. How often does anybody get to live in a new home? There's not been anything new in that neighborhood in how many years? Or any neighborhood. And the thing that they will remember is how the city helped them, and how this commission helped them, and how the city helped them. And as part of the enduring legacy for those of us on the commission that will be involved in this project, because it will be our legacy that we helped people. We made the community a better place. And additionally, the development will show that the commission and the community, we will show what we can do to all of Broward County, to all of the state of Florida, and all the nation. Look what Dania Beach did for their community. With just a loan of $637,000, they made the world a better place. I mean, I hear the snickering out there, but these are the facts. I've done my homework. And based on the fund balances of the city that we have, we're in a very healthy position right now. I think our fund balances are over $26,690,000. That's according to the public record. So it's not like the loan is protected. I talked to the city attorney at length about the terms of the loan. I mean, $11,000 a month payment will pay back the loan within 5 years. So I'm urging my fellow commissioners here to take to heart what we were elected to do from the people out there that voted for us, and that is make our city a better place for our community and our people that live here.
Commissioner Brandon Marty.
Oh, I got to answer these. I got to. You want to talk about not having a place to go in a storm? How many of you sitting in this audience got a place to go in a hurricane? We don't even own a hurricane shelter for 30,000 residents. So homework must be done on this. As far as the money goes, that we've got so much money, they want to spend money that we didn't even start to get in yet on the place, on that shopping center. We have a mayor. By the way, I love her anyway. That's it. She knows it. We have a mayor who wants to do branding for the city to get our name out there for 30,000 people. That ain't going to cost just $30,000. That's an important thing she wants. She wants a gymnasium for our children so that they have a place to go and play. We have people right here in this city. Do you realize that this money, we're not a bank, first of all. I don't even know where that came from. This money is part of the taxes that you paid. It's your taxes money included in this money. You better think about that one. I still don't understand yet how someone can make money by collecting interest back on your loan, on their loan, right? On your taxes. How the hell do you make money on your taxes? We're going to make money off your taxes by loaning this money out. And you know that guy back there whose comment I really didn't appreciate, but his other ones are fantastic. He's absolutely 100% right. As you can tell, I don't have the trust. I don't have the trust for those people that are going to find another place to live for one solid year. I don't have the trust that maybe one of their children get in trouble, and because they did, the mother ain't going to get back in there. If the trust was there, I'd feel differently, but I don't. How do you trust a place like the ones that they're talking about that they've lived in for 20 years, yet no one ever came to this mic and said, Mayor, help us. Help us. We're living with mice. I got mice too, though. So don't knock mice. All right? We're living with roaches. There's roaches in Meadowbrook. Don't let them kid you. You think they're highfalutin over where I live? Forget about it. I have a lot of the same problems. And the water coming down, to the lady that got water. Now, we have water coming from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 floor. Everybody got water. Now the state put a law into place. Your condo association, in case you don't know it, must replace every wall in your apartment. They never had to do that before. Times change. So guess who's got to pay for the walls in somebody else's building? We do, because laws change. But I am appalled over the fact that people try to take advantage, like that gentleman said, of poor people. And you see it all the time. And I can't give this kind of money out. You know, I'll tell you something else. All you need is one more 9/11, one more bad thing. And who gets their money first? Let me ask you, does the city get their money first, or do the developers get their money first?
Sir, you can't talk from back there.
Does a developer get their money first? I don't know. Or do we get back our money? Our money? It ain't our money. It's your money. Don't let us approve something that's prematurely spending almost $700,000 of your money that we need right here for our residents. That's how I feel.
Commissioner Grace?
First of all, I'm insulted.
Is your mic on?
I'm insulted by one of my fellow commissioners that had the nerve and the audacity to read your little statement off the paper stating that we had not done anything in our community for a very long time. I'm insulted. I'm insulted because I am one of the players that really took the heart and the soul of making sure that we had quality housing in the northwest section of the city of Dania Beach. The 82 homes that we built in the city from 1990 to 2008, I'm proud of first-time home buyers. I fought with commissioners that sat here that wanted us to have landlords, absentee landlords, come in and build apartment buildings, and we stuck together. And I have to say this honestly and sincerely, because we never got along, but when it got to this point to try to do something correct for the city of Dania Beach, especially the northwest section, was Bob Mikes.
Yeah.
He stuck with me to make sure that we did no more apartments, we did first-time home buyers, and we did quality homes for the residents of Dania Beach and the senior citizens buildings. This is Black History Month, and we put up on the board today some things that I was very proud of. I can remember when we walked on City Hall concerning affordable housing in the city of Dania Beach with Thomas Hall. A lot of you don't know who that is, but I know who it is because I was one of the persons who marched with him. If you had the problems that you had in Saratoga, there is no way in hell that me, my children, my mother, my father, or anybody else would have been in this position
and lived with
it without complaining. I don't care if they threw me out the same night, I would still be out there protesting for better quality of life. That's where I got where I am today, by being a part of the process, not a part of the problem. I am appalled. I don't care what you worked out, that the Housing Authority Director did not show her face here tonight to ask us for that money. I am appalled that you're promising something that you can't deliver.
Yeah.
I am appalled because I am not going to take the money from the city of Dania Beach. I don't care how my fellow commissioners vote to give $7 to this project. I talked to my city attorney. I gave him an outline of the questions that I needed him to ask you because I just felt like it was not appropriate for me to meet with you anymore because in my mindset, if you think about what you're going to do, and it might not set well with other people, but you do the things that you promised the people that elect you to office that you were going to do to protect and preserve their funds, I'm going to do that. Now, if you don't want me to be that representative, then don't vote for me next time.
You ain't going nowhere.
Oh,
Get the hell out of there,
is there
Smacky. Get out of
if
here.
there's going to be a next time, I am always going to be a part of Dania Beach as long as I have breath in me to live, because I care. I care. I did not run in 1989 on a promise of trying to give anybody anything, because I was told at that time, we've got 5 candidates, you're not going to win, nobody's going to vote for you, nobody knows who you are, but guess what? It was not in their control, and it was not in my control. I don't think that you would have kept electing me backwards and forth to this commission if you didn't think I had something positive to offer. If that is your prerogative that you don't want to see me here, then don't vote for me next time. I'm good with that. I am. But as long as I'm sitting here, I'm going to do those things that I think that are positive for everybody in Dania Beach, because in this 8.5 mile radius, I represent everybody. We don't run in districts. We run at large. So I represent whether you voted for me or whether you didn't vote for me or whether you thought about not voting for me or you're not going to vote for me next time. That's fine, okay? I'm good with that. But I'm going to tell you right now, as I talk to the attorney, I don't see good faith in this project at all. I've seen it happen with Henry Graham and LES. I've seen it happen with Fort Lauderdale with the Sistrunk. I've seen it happen in Pompano Beach. I've seen it happen in Overtown. And you think we got problems? They're going to be going through some stuff in a few. When that stadium is built for the hockey, they're going to be going through some stuff, okay? I'm going to make a motion at this time that we deny this request.
Okay, before your motion, you have 2 other comments, and then
Okay.
your motion. Vice Mayor?
I apologize to Commissioner Grace if I offended her. What I
Thank
meant
you.
to say is that there are no new developments of this size in that area.
Okay.
So where
That makes sense.
it can be a safe, I know you build a lot of homes, and
Yes,
I know
I
you worked
have.
hard and you put a lot of sweat.
Still doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, it ain't over.
But there are 2 key words that we heard here tonight that I think everybody should remember, and that's faith and that's opportunity.
In God.
Hallelujah.
Yep. And so with what we can do to make the community a better place, if we just have the faith and the opportunity to do it, and we have the opportunity, but I'm asking my fellow commissioners to have the faith that we can do this. The terms of the loan are good. The economy is good. The growth potential for all of the country is good. So have the faith and the opportunity to do something good.
Commissioner Salvino?
Thank you, Mayor. Listening to everything that's been going on tonight, I look at the city of Dania Beach, even though they're asking for the money, as the leaders up here, we have to do what I feel is best for the community and best for the residents. I cannot see where we cannot step up and help the residents that are there and the possible 125 or 150 more, giving them affordable housing. I just can't see where we don't get that as Dania Beach leaders. You know, the problem, it seems like a personal vendetta against the housing director, but you know, listening to this, the ones that have lived there longer than 4 or 5 years, I would like to know if they had a problem with that prior director or the prior director. You know, when you start talking about funding, I'm not sure exactly how much HUD gives them to repair. I'm under the impression it's a limit of $50,000, I don't even know how much it is, but I know it's not enough to repair it, all the damage that's done. And everybody knows working with government, funds are always limited or always restricted. So, you know, I mean, you can do whatever you guys want to do, but I just think that given the opportunity to give more housing, affordable housing in Dania Beach is what we need to do.
Commissioner Grace?
To answer my fellow commissioner, I had problems with prior directors for the Housing Authority. Rachel Brown, or whatever her first name was, I had problems with her because
Rita.
she was treating people unfairly. She truly was. And people came to me to voice their concerns, and I ended up, through Dania Economic and Development, helping people relocate, helping them pay their assistance because they were short and they were going to put them out for a little bit of money, and I just could not see them being put out on the street like that. I didn't vote for her. I was on the Housing Authority because I was in Texas when I was appointed, and I came back and I was on that Housing Authority where they tried to kick me off because they said I had a conflict of interest. And I said, what conflict can I have trying to serve my community? There is no conflict. So, and prior to her, the director before her, before they redid the I call them Gulfstream Apartments, which was a part of that entity before they came in and spent $7 million to upgrade that. I had a problem. I will always have a problem when you mistreat my residents in the city of Dania Beach because I am compassionate, because I know how it took me to get here, okay? My parents. We came here with 3 children, mother and father. We lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. But guess what? We lived because we were a family. And what we always wanted was something better, which I want for my residents of Dania Beach. I want something better for them. And it might not come today, it might not come next year, but it will come.
Before Commissioner Salvino, I just have a comment to make. I'm not old enough to have a personal vendetta with the Housing Authority Director. All the issues that y'all have that may date back to 20 years. I was still in school, so I don't know what was going on then. What I do know is that I look at people's resumes. I look at the work they've produced. I look at the fruit that they bear, and I look at all of the emails and the phone calls that I get, and not only from Saratoga residents, but from a lot of the people who are represented by the Housing Authority Board. Pull the public records if you want to pull the public records. So I don't look at one person, if they like me or not. I don't really care. There are people that sitting out there that didn't vote for me. I still represent you too. You'll get over it. We're going to go to sleep. We're going to wake up and be okay in the morning. But to say that people have personal vendettas against people and that's why we're not voting, that insults the integrity of us who are holding this office and for those who voted for us to sit here. Commissioner Salvino?
Yeah, well, that's, I think you're taking out of context that you're blaming the Housing Authority for all the issues that are there, which is whatever, that's fine. But I mean, I'm listening to her tell us that they're going to be doing the screening, not the Housing Authority, and it's going to be the management company that's going to be doing the screening and so on. So, but whatever, you know, I think we've beat this to death. So whatever you want to call for your vote, Mayor, I'm okay with it.
Great. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second it.
Call the roll, please.
This is not. I'm sorry. This is to. What was the
What was your motion, Commissioner
The
Grace?
motion is to deny request of 600, how many dollars, Tom?
37.
Okay.
Ready? Commissioner Brandimart?
Deny the motion.
So
that's a yes?
Yes.
Commissioner Grace?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
No.
Vice Mayor Harris?
No.
Mayor James?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Jesus.
Who is that guy?
Commissioner comments, Commissioner Brandon-Marty?
Never seen him. Yeah.
Commissioner Brandon-Marty?
I just, oh, Bobby, I really was wanting Bobby to know, but you're all here, so you might as well know it too. Fran Nigro passed away. I'm sorry,
Who?
Bobby. It's a dear friend of Bobby's, and she passed away. And also the owner of the nursing home,
Marianne Signori, husband?
yes, he passed away also. And usually I don't tell anybody that passed away because Bobby is the queen of telling you who died in town. But the, Bobby, right? But the only reason why I did it was because they're in the club and I just found out myself today. So other than that, and I want everybody to go see this midget show.
Yes.
And it's February the 24th from 1 to 4, some midgets. I love midgets.
It's a wrestling.
I do. And I'm going to go see this midget wrestling place there. And
Are you gonna wrestle?
And also, wait a minute. Hold on there. And also, we're going to plan on doing something this summer. We're going to wrestle each other. Me and Bobby against her. The short one there in the yellow garb.
Oh, me.
It's for the
But
Cancer
it's
Society.
for Cancer Society. The money will go to cancer. But I thought this up, and I like the idea of it. Will you come? You will come and watch?
It'll be fun.
Okay. Nothing else. Goodbye.
Oh, gosh. Sorry. Commissioner Grace?
I don't want anyone to think that I don't have a heart, because I do. Otherwise, I would be where my dad is, which probably is not a bad place either, because I love Dad. But the NAACP built a project in my hometown where I was born in Donaldsonville, Georgia. It's called Friendship Crossing. And what I really like about that organization is because they keep on top of it. Every month they have an inspection of your apartment. They have an inspection to make sure that the lighting is correct. They make sure that the air ducts are cleaned out. They make sure that you don't have an abundance of furniture or clothing. It's a clean environment. So they come out every month and they do a checklist. It's about 30 things on the list that they do. And if you're in violation, they give you to the next month to make sure that you comply with what they ask. Your lease is on a yearly basis, and if there are violations, then you're terminated. And I like that because I actually came back and I asked my director for Dania Economic and Development Corporation to implement some of those things, even though I think that we have done a fantastic job with that development, because we try to keep it up to par. We do some of the same things that they do. So it was very disheartening to me to learn that the residents have been going through all of these scenarios for the many, many years that they have been going through. That is not a good environment, because your health is the most important thing that you have. If you're going through emotional stress with things that are happening to you, it will eventually catch up with you. Nobody wants to live in an environment like that. Truly, I don't, and I don't want anybody else to. So we will try to do our best to monitor what's going on there, even though we have limited say-so of what can be done, because it's regulated by HUD. But I think because it is in the city of Dania Beach, we have a moral obligation to make sure that every resident in the city of Dania Beach is treated fairly, like we did for the northeast section that came in tonight about the I call them bed and breakfast. I know that's not what they are. I'm just
Airbnb.
trying.
You're right.
Yes. But I think that we should have programs in place to make sure that those residents are okay. I'm going to ask the mayor, if I can, to do two things for me. My term is going to be up in November, so what I would like for us to do is, if you can send a letter to Congressman John Lewis, asking him to be a keynote speaker for the annual Dr. Martin Luther King celebration on next year. CC a copy to Congressman Al C. Hastings, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, because they are my contacts in this area. He marched with Dr. Martin Luther King, and I thought before he goes out of office, it will be very great for us to have him in the city of Dania Beach, because we are the first city in Broward County.
But
and
it's now then, huh?
Yeah, and so that needs to go out ASAP.
Oh, okay.
Along with that, if you can, I didn't see it on the agenda tonight.
I'm
the
writing.
Black History Proclamation, if you can also do that for me. And
do we have an existing?
I'm just,
wait, do we have an existing?
Yeah, we
okay,
do.
thank you,
Louise
Louise.
has it, but you want to add stuff to it and delete stuff like I normally do.
I can't.
So-
I can't write this fast.
Okay.
All this talk, nothing for Mark.
Okay. Oh, we have minutes.
I have nothing for
Any-
Mark
any-
tonight.
All this talk,
I have
but
nothing for you, Mark. I have
Come on,
nothing
Mayor,
for you.
Call him up again.
But I just want you to know, if you have not had an opportunity, please go by C.W. Thomas Park to look at all of the stuff that we have up for Black History Month. You will be pleasantly surprised. When I walked in there today and found some of the pictures and some of the newspaper articles, and I looked at Deborah Simmons, who was the first airline stewardess from Dania Beach that worked for Eastern Airline. It just, you know, it resonated my heart to see a lot of the stuff. We got a lot of stuff up there about the old pioneers and the new pioneers, and I talked about Thomas Hall. If you have not had an opportunity to look back and see what he was all about, he was about a lot of stuff that was good. He was about a lot of stuff that was bad. But when it came out to it, the good stuff outweighed the bad stuff because he brought to light some of the bad things that happened in the city of Dania Beach and tried to correct them. So I really wanted to acknowledge him for that. And, of course, the Q family and all of this. And so we will be monitoring Black History Month. And I told them in the Gracefully Aging this morning, I said, I don't consider, even though February is Black History Month, I do it 365. My parents, when I was growing up, never wanted me to grow up to be a black woman. They wanted me to grow up to be a woman. And I think that's what I am. I think that's why I try to perceive myself in that direction, to make sure that I do those things that are pleasing in some of your sites and some of your sites not. So be it. But that's the way it is. I want to encourage you to please come to the Greater Mount Zion 109th birthday celebration. That's going to be on February the 25th, and it's a 4 o'clock in the evening service. So those of you that have not gotten the invitation, I know that all of the elected officials did receive the invitation. I'm hoping that you'll be able to come and support them. And then I think in the next couple of months, St. Ruth Missionary Baptist Church will be having their 110th birthday celebration. So I just want to keep it real, even though I'm not happy with their pastor right now. Call me out on Sunday, but Pastor, I do have faith, Vice Mayor, I do have faith. I'm just figuring out how I'm going to use this faith on Reverend Howard. It's coming. It's coming. It's
Poor
coming.
guy.
And I want to wish Brandon, my grandson.
Aw.
Brandon came here from Texas when he was 5 years old. And Dania Press did the article in the paper, and I was just really happy. And Brandon is going to be February. He's my Cupid. He truly is. His birthday is tomorrow. He's going to be 20, and I'm looking at his baby pictures because remember I told you earlier that I was in Texas for 2 weeks, and I was out there when Denise had Brandon, and that's all I did was held this little boy and just hugged him and let him know how much I love him. And I'm still doing. He don't want me to hold him now, but I'm still doing it. He's going to be 20, but I want to wish Brandon a happy birthday and then we'll see what happens. Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. I love everybody. Woo!
Commissioner Salvino.
Commissioner Grace talked enough for both of us.
I love you too.
Vice Mayor.
I just want to say to my fellow commissioners, although we have a differing of opinions, I love you all, and we are up here to serve and serve the people, and people like Emma, who probably worked all day at Publix, and all you others out there, thank you for coming and staying the whole time, because it really means that you're invested in the community like we are up here. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. That's all.
I invited them this morning from Gracefully Aging, and, they didn't disappoint me. I am just so happy to see you.
Aww.
Yes.
I forgot what I had to say, too. I have a long laundry list of items to do. I just want to say, yes, we all do sit up here, and we all don't see eye to eye all the time, but it is our jobs to keep the goal in mind at the forefront, and that is serving the residents of this city, and not just while we're on this dais. We hear about community service and serving the community all the time, and I do that regardless if I'm up here. I've been doing that since I've been a little girl, and I've been giving back to my community, and that is why I ran for city commission, because I wanted to continue to serve our residents from the east to the west, from the north to the south, whatever quadrant you live in. I wanted to be able to represent you, so I don't take that lightly. You're not going to always like how we vote, But do trust that, you know, we have your best interests at heart. And if not, when the election comes up, as Ms. Gray said, you can vote us in, you can vote us out. What else is on here? Commissioner Grace, you have your light lit?
There's a lady.
I'm gonna let her speak after I
Okay,
speak.
thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. On that note, wait, I have a few issues. I've been getting a lot of feedback from residents who are still complaining about people who are sleeping on their boats in various marinas. It is a big problem. They even spoke about them dumping their waste into the waters and littering.
So those are liveaboards at our marina, at Dania Beach Marina?
Not just at the marina, just other places, like in the back of Dockers, or, you know, I encountered someone there, like, I don't know, I don't even know who manages. Does West Trek manage all of them?
No.
Harbortown? Okay. Well, whoever is managing these various ones, we really need to crack down and make sure that we are having clean waterways. Our waterways aren't that huge in Dania Beach right now. And to have people pumping waste and dumping waste into our waterways, and I think it's quite disgusting because there are a lot of liveaboards, and, you know, I know it is because sometimes when I walk the neighborhoods, I see them. And so I think that we really need to crack down on that. And I also wanted to know if we had an HR director yet.
I will pass out this report that I passed out.
It's in your report?
It is in the report, but I'll tell you that I have one more interview this week, and then I'll be able to make a selection within the next few days.
And what about the athletic director?
Athletic director, the Parks and Recreation director we're at the second round of interviews, and I believe he will make a selection by the end of the week as well.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes?
The elevator at Quarterdex is out, and then it needs to be cleaned quite often.
Well, I actually talked about this issue as well. That elevator is out, and it's a bigger issue. I think I spoke with Nikki yesterday. It's a bigger issue than it being out. It's because of the salt that says getting into it. So I don't know what we're supposed to do. I guess you gotta ask
It was
Brad.
poorly designed when it was it was poorly designed when it was originally put in.
So what are we
is
going
my
to do
understanding.
about it?
Well, it would basically budgeting to replace the elevator, redesign it some way and replace
How
it.
much does it cost?
I was told probably $100,000, but I'm not sure. We would have to find out exactly what it costs.
And also, I know that we have, with the lights down at the beach as well, it's really scary, you know, and I know I spoke with Brad about this with C.W. Thomas Park, and I've been complaining about this. Like, first off, I know that we have different residents that are complaining in different areas, but our parks is city property, and they need to be safe. And I know that when I'm over there, and after my son has football practice, it is pitch black dark on that playground. And I know that it's a process, and we're trying to get bids. Listen, that is a priority. It needs to be a priority. If something happened, there was a shooting there last year, and it was poorly lit then. It is scary to have a child that wants to play, and you hear things on the playground and you cannot see. So you have people that are working for the parks that
Right.
I'm not going out there, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't go out there if I couldn't see what's out there, and I don't care what neighborhood I was in, because crime happens everywhere, regardless of what part of the city, or state, or country you live in. And so that, I don't know if it needs to be considered more seriously than it's being considered, or I don't know the steps or the protocol, but that has been an issue of mine for some time now, and something needs to be done about that. And the same thing that goes for the beach. It is pitch black dark there too, and I know we have some numbers for some proposals, but it definitely needs to happen sooner than later, because these are our public places, and we are responsible for anything that happens in these public places. And I know about the turtles, you have to have a certain type of light that does, but we don't have any lighting. It's not low lighting, it's no lighting that's out there right now, and it's a concern of mine. Commissioner Grace?
No, you were right, and especially that right by C.W. Thomas where the kids play on. My husband complained about that the other night. He said, we have to have more lighting for those children. It's either that or you close it out completely because you still have kids playing.
We're going to be putting out some temporary lighting, maybe through FPNL, and then we're talking about doing the next CDBG funds. I believe I talked to you about that for another. I think once or twice we've come to you with solar lighting, CDBG. We're going to do another of those so that we can get a lot of lights. The commission has expressed to me a number of locations that they would like to have lights, so we're going to solve that on the long term by doing it that way.
So what is the timetable to get C.W. Thomas Park property?
What is the latest on the temporary lights?
Brad
Also
Kane,
12.
Public Services Director. We're actually meeting with FPNL on Friday to take a look at some various locations, C.W. Thomas included, to look at some options for lighting that immediate. So, once I meet with them, I'll be able to give a better time frame on.
We don't have
means
any.
next week.
We don't have any money to do solar lights because FPNL aren't solar lights, correct?
Correct. That's not.
So do we have money to do?
You could buy solar lights, but they're expensive.
What's expensive?
Over each one is definitely over $10,000.
So that's why we wanted to resolve it temporarily with FPNL lighting, and then come in
Well,
if
it's
we
a
get
solar-
CDBG funds.
Are you talking about the entire structure or are you talking about the light?
I did the whole thing.
Okay, because it's a solar light that's there that
Needs to be repaired.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's on when it's on.
Well-
Like I know that's probably one of the first ones you guys put in, but it needs to, that one probably would be cheaper
Well,
than 10,000,
That
right?
one, if it's just a light, then staff can address that issue. And the other thing is we're going to see what measures we can do, look at
From the
new
sun.
options. I'm meeting with them on Friday, so I should be able to have some answers by early.
Okay, and I'm gonna speak to you too, because I have some ideas to cut down the cost and do something that's not gonna take months.
And we're also trying to amend a contract so that we can put in more solar lighting you'd mentioned around Christmas time here at City Hall. So
Oh,
those would be
yes.
solar lights
Pitch
and
dark.
probably be 3 or 4 lights we're going to buy.
Okay, I understand that we contract with FPNL and they come and they put out lights, but I would rather spend the money to do it the right way the first time than to have to come back if a hurricane come and when all of the streets are pitch black because we don't have power and, solar lights would actually be beneficial there. Commissioner Grace, your light's still on.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it for me. Oh, and the Tamara James Foundation is hosting a father-daughter dance at the Gallery of Amazing Things for fathers and daughters. Tickets are $40 for a father-daughter duo. You can contact Commissioner Grace because I have her.
My tickets are out.
I have her selling some tickets for the event, but we are also going to be sponsoring fatherless daughters to be able to go out and experience this red carpet event as well, that for our young ladies that are in our community that don't have fathers present in their lives. And that is it for me. Appointments. I don't have, anyone have any appointments for any of these things? The advisory board, the airport advisory board, I have an appointment. Anyone want to serve in the public? Okay. The educational advisory board, vice mayor and city manager. So vice mayor has an appointment? We don't have anyone. No one? The green advisory board, anyone out there? No, okay. The marine advisory board, vice mayor has 2 and so do I. Anyone out there? Okay.
Can we look at the minutes and the size and the number of people on the boards because it's becoming increasingly hard to fill the seats to get people to volunteer. Do you agree with that, Mayor?
Yeah, I agree. Excuse me. Come. Could you come to? I forgot about you. I'm so sorry.
I kept motioning you.
Just now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Luz Ortiz, and I live at 224 Northwest 13th Court, Dania Beach.
Okay.
And I'm totally new to the community. I'm from Jersey. And the reason I came was because I wanted to know where the landlord store stands in the part, because I'm a Section 8 recipient, and I have an issue with the landlord and Section 8 don't buy as far as what I need them for, and if I complain to the Section 8, he hounds me like threatens me, like I'm terminate your.
He retaliates.
He retaliates, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
do you think I'm gonna let you walk all over me?
Okay, wait, the police back there.
You know, like
Go to jail.
no, you know, and the thing is,
joking.
I go by the law. You know,
Uh-huh.
I didn't come all the way down here, put with my 2 feet in, blindly, starting from zero, working in Jackson, to have a person
I feel
try
you.
to, you know,
I understand.
and I help, and I do this, and I work for the senior citizens. You are not gonna keep doing it.
That's right.
So I cannot withhold my part of the rent. So I have to tell Section 8, hold your part till he does his part. And if he retaliates, like he's gonna cut the lease. So I don't know if that's legal. They tell me, yeah, kind of, sort of. And they, you know, where am I gonna stand? Out in the streets?
Mark, is this your jurisdiction?
It-
Yeah. Okay.
You
So,
know,
can you speak to?
I'm afraid to speak up sometimes.
Don't be afraid.
No.
I'll help you. Not like that. I know you can hold your own. You look like you know. You can hold your own. You from Jersey, right? Okay. Speak for Mark outside. Wait, before you go, you want to serve, honey?
Yeah, I would like to
Okay.
serve. Yes.
Which board? You on my appointment? Oh
Two
wait,
boards?
how long you been here?
I've been here a little over a year.
Okay, good. You want to serve on the Marine Advisory Board?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to serve on the Airport Advisory Board too?
Yes.
Okay, that's my two.
Okay. You got me.
Do we have a motion to accept
you
it?
let her do that to you?
We're in Jersey. I'm Union Township, Union County. Garden State.
Look at you.
Yeah.
She done found somebody
Tell
else
you-
from Jersey. You go on, Chicky.
Tell you.
Oh, so y'all just gonna represent like that in here, Jersey? Dania Beach, stand up. Like, what's going on in here? Let's go on.
I'm originally from North Newark, like North, and it's like Brick City. Yes, Brick City.
Uh-oh.
And I'm originally from there. I decided not to raise my kids.
Well, thank you
I
for
took my
choosing
kids
Dania
out of
Beach.
there. Coming up on 11 years becoming addict. I just passed 11 years becoming addict. Raised my
Good
kids
job.
out of there, and they're in college now.
Good
I'm
job.
not beat to have this.
All right.
I break that chain on me.
All right. Speak to Mark, please, in
All right,
back.
nice
And
to
thank
meet
you. You're my appointment. Show up to the meetings, okay?
Show up to the meeting.
No, to my advisory board meetings. I just put you on 2 boards. You have to show up.
Okay. How am I gonna know how?
She's gonna mail
Take
you
my
all your
information?
information. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. She already has it. You already said it.
All right.
You want a phone number? Okay. Mark, can you get all of her information for me, please? Yes?
When we have all these board openings, if we did it at the beginning of the meeting, could we? Because you got a lot of full audience here then.
Okay, we can talk about that. That's a good. Do we have a? We'll talk about it.
Motion
I'll
to
ask.
approve the boards.
Do we all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, good. Oh, listen, I'm delirious already. Don't do that. Administrative reports.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got several things to report tonight. I have one on the agenda. As you know, the decision at your last meeting, we accepted applicants from city employees for the city manager's position. 2 applied, 1 withdrew, and the commission decided not to interview and to proceed with going out for executive recruiter. We've contacted a number of executive recruiters who who recruit in South Florida or in Florida. And just to let them know, sent them copies of the RLI. We've posted it so that other recruiters can apply as well. So the closing is this coming Tuesday. When we receive the proposals, I will distribute those to the commissioners, and then you can meet with the administration. We'll go over each one of them with you, and we can decide based on how many submittals we have, how you would like to proceed. We'll put it on the next agenda. You may get presentations, or you may decide to do it from just the written proposals they submit. But first, let's see how many people submit proposals. So
It's
that's
on the city's
latest
website,
Yes.
Okay.
And was it advertised?
Because
as
usually, well, I'm
It was
just
also
saying-
advertised.
Okay, usually Kristen sends out a thing that says, something, an alert that lets us know. Is it something like that she can send out? Is she still consulting
I don't
with
think
us?
she's doing code reds now, is she?
No, it's not a code red.
Or Chris isn't doing it.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so that's the latest on that. Then, I'm not going to burden you with all these. I know you get mad when I pass out a lot of things, so I'm not going to pass out a lot of things. I'll put them in your box. This is the CEPTED study that you've been asking about for security at City Hall that the chief mentioned earlier. I'll put it in your box, and you have a chance to read it, and then we can go over it. The structural assessment from the structural engineer has been completed, and I will make sure you each get a copy of this as well. Subsequently, you will get an executive summary, and we'll explain to you. You don't have to read the whole thing. I want you to have a copy of it. Essentially, just the question about an EOC at City Hall, it's basically concluded here, this is not an appropriate place for an EOC, that the highest wind it would sustain is probably around 140 miles per hour, which you get gusts like that in a Cat 2 storm, so we're going to have to find alternatives for emergency operations center. I know the mayor and I were here during the storm. I mean, you could just tell it was not
The mayor left.
the place you want to be. So. Also, I'll pass this out to all of you. This is our proposed microsurfacing, roads resurfacing. And then we'll give you a presentation at the next meeting so you can decide if this is okay. If you have any changes to it or any suggestions, if you let me know before the next meeting, we can make modifications to it. And then the last thing, which was just brought to my attention, Dania Point, I guess, is requesting we send a letter to the county indicating to them that we are willing to assume maintenance of lighting along Bryan Road.
Bryan Road, it's county road.
It's a county road, but I guess around the county, typically, the county requires cities, where's Mark?
He's outside.
Outside, to maintain the lighting. And if you remember, we couldn't even get the county to put sidewalks on Bryan Road. We had to do that ourselves. So the figure I have here is the number of lights, 15 LED lights, location of lights, west side of Bryan Road. I believe we're already, Brad, aren't we paying for the lighting that I have put in on the east side, right? The estimated annual cost to maintain operate the lights is about $2,241. Let me read this to you first. Dania Point is in the process of completing all roadway improvements for Bryant Road, from Sterling Road to Griffin Road, as required by Broward County. In order for Dania Point to install streetlights in the Bryan Road right-of-way, a Broward County right-of-way, Broward County requires that the city enter into an agreement with Broward County for the maintenance and operation of the new streetlights. This agreement is similar to other streetlight agreements we have with Broward County and requires that the city pay the cost for maintenance, replacement, repair, and electrical charges for the lights. Joe Dennis of Chemco recently contacted us and requested that the city expedite the city's commitment to Broward County that we will maintain and operate the streetlights. This commitment will allow Dania Point to gain approval by Broward County to install the streetlights along Bryan Road and complete the road ASAP. Due to the timeliness of this matter and at the request of Kimco and Broward County, I'm seeking the Commission's consensus to send a letter to Broward County expressing the city's commitment as required. The formal agreement will be scheduled for City Commission action on the February 27th agenda.
Any issues with that from anyone? No? Okay.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have this evening.
Hold on one second. You made me think about something. I received an email, and I see you, Commissioner Grace. I received an email from, I don't remember what his name is. He's from Advanced Auto Parts that's with the Dania Point project, who was thinking I would have to give my mom a shout out in the SPO building.
I did, and that was very nice. We put it in her personnel file.
Yeah, he gave her many thanks for helping expedite things and being there and being very friendly. And so I want to say, thank you, Mom. You're a great employee. She's going to fuss me out when I get home still. Commissioner Grace.
Yeah, City Manager, how are we coming with the hiring of the resource manager and the assistant and also the director? Because I've got some bills that need to be paid.
Yeah, it's, I will pass this report out, and I'll put this in your box, but the HR director and the athletic director should be filled by the end of this week.
Okay.
And then they will fill everything else.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Nothing to add. City Clerk?
The next City Commission meeting will be Tuesday, February 27th at 7 p.m. And just a reminder that we also scheduled a workshop for the CRA at 11 a.m. on Monday, February 26th.
Okay, I think we already got that that invitation as soon as we left the CRA board meeting. I want to wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day. I know it's tomorrow, and thank you all for staying here to the conclusion of our meeting. Meeting adjourned.
We might not be able to come. We have to reschedule.